The New England men's football manager will be the former Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel. He'll be unveiled as coach tomorrow by the Football Association, with the German becoming only the third foreign men's manager of the national side in history. Here's Dan Roan.
He's a proven winner, leading his sides to trophies in all three of the countries he's managed in. Best known here for guiding Chelsea to Champions League glory 3 years ago, Thomas Tuchel has now agreed to return to England, but this time to take charge of the national team. The German becoming the men's side's third foreign coach.
He's a huge Anglophile, I can tell you that. I think he'd be very tempted by the job, having had a very positive experience here, not just by way of being immersed in the daily business of the Premier League, but he likes the mentality of English players. I think he has a talent for getting a lot out of a squad and finding solutions.
Tactical and sometimes tetchy, Tuchel certainly made an impact at Chelsea.
Tuchel got a hold and would not let go.
When the German took over, they were 7th in the table. After 5 months in charge, they were champions of Europe.
For me, it's about attacking the goal, attacking the spaces, the box, and attacking the opponent when we don't have the ball.
Sacked later that year, he went to Bayern Munich and took England captain Harry Kane with him, but his side failed to win the league for the first time in a decade, and again he was dismissed. Meanwhile, having lost a second successive Euros final, England boss Gareth Southgate stepped down, and the FA's search for a first new manager in 8 years began. Interim Lee Carsley was given his chance, but admitted they needed someone world-class. There were doubts over whether Manchester City's Pep Guardiola was a realistic target, but Tuchel was available, and with the FA concluding talks quickly, England's first German coach is now set to be formally unveiled at Wembley this week.
It's an interesting choice. How much of a surprise is it?
Clive, I think some people will be surprised perhaps by the speed at which these talks were suddenly concluded. After all, there had been this feeling perhaps that the FA were in no rush to find a replacement for Gareth Southgate. World Cup qualifying doesn't begin until March of next year. Perhaps two factors accelerated this process. The first, that the candidacy of the interim Lee Carsley was effectively ended last week with that defeat to Greece at Wembley, and his rather mixed messaging when it came to questions over whether he wanted the job full time. And then secondly, perhaps the FA were concerned that Tuchel could be targeted by another club or country, Manchester United, for example, who we know spoke to Tuchel in the summer and considered bringing him to Old Trafford. On the other hand, it makes sense, this. He's vastly experienced. Tuchel has managed many of the world's biggest players and several of the biggest teams as well. He knows English football very well. There'll be some who are disappointed that the FA haven't gone for a homegrown English coach, that they'll worry perhaps that this shows there's a lack of depth and options when it comes to candidates like Eddie Howe or Graham Potter, for example. But I think the FA ultimately will be relieved to have ended this uncertainty that was surrounding the team post-Southgate, and they will hope now, of course, that he can take that final step. Southgate got so close, didn't he, to ending that long wait for silverware, and Tuchel can be the man to prove that it's not football's impossible job after all.
Indeed. All right, Dan, thank you. Dan Roan, our sports editor there.